Hi, I'm Sonia, fourth generation intuitive, Hay House author, and intuitive guide. And today I'm going to teach you the simplest, easiest, and most powerful way to heal your spirit right now. Best part, it's free and doesn't require any talking. So, what is this magical tool that can heal my spirit that's free, that doesn't require any talking? Being in nature. Now, being in nature is one of the most profoundly healing things that we can do for our spirit and for ourselves. In our modern world, we are disconnected from outside, from where we originally came from the earth. And when we get disconnected from our Mother Earth, from our connection to the divine, which is really reflected in all of nature. I mean, like, you want to see somebody who has like the best, most immaculate taste and the most incredible color palettes, go into nature. The most exquisite artistry in the whole wide world that just feeds you up, go into nature. When we spend time in nature, not only does it help to increase our intuition, connect us back to our spirit, help to connect us back to other people, increase our awareness, decrease our stress and anxiety, help to relieve depression. I mean, the list goes on and on. And when we can actually make it a practice to be in nature, it can be one of the most powerful tools we can use to connect to our intuition, connect to our guides, and re-regulate our nervous systems and actually heal. One of the most overused words that we have in the spiritual realm, I mean, I've been doing this my whole life, is healing. And we have this strange obsession with healing always having to be this very difficult, challenging, intellectual, talking part to try and figure out what is wrong. Now, don't get me wrong. It's very important to serve witness to our patterns, to experiences that we've had, to be introspective, to self-reflect. But at the same time, often what I see in my mentoring and doing readings for over 10 years is that it can also be a bypass. We can get so obsessed with the what, why, how, where did this come from, that it actually just becomes another way that we distract ourselves from the present moment and actually doesn't create lasting change, because it doesn't create a change in our relationship with the past in order to be present. Now, to actually heal requires us to come back into the present moment. And you know where we can really do that is in nature. When we are in nature, we start to recognize that we aren't disconnected, that we are part of a whole. You look at these beautiful ecosystems, you walk through a forest, you take a stroll even through a park, you see the different trees and things that just grow wherever it is that you are. And you'll see this incredible balance that's part of this wholeness. And what happens when we disconnect from our spirit is when we feel disconnected, scared, when we get in our heads. And that is when we get into overthinking, perfectionism, because we get afraid. And so what can we do? Let's go to our head and we'll figure it out. But that's not the channel that connects us or reconnects us. Because what actually reconnects us to our spirit, what actually reconnects us to our intuition and to ourselves, is being in our bodies. And that's not an intellectual thought, but a lived experience. And a simple way to do that is to move your body somewhere beautiful. You know, when you look in very grounded ways, science even knows, in Japan, they do something called forest bathing. And what they do is they encourage their the population to go spend time in the woods. They have these different trails, and it actually first originated from when people were too much at work and they saw a lot of stress and suicide. So they actually created something called forest bathing. And it was like, you need to go take a forest bath and walk through the woods and actually allow yourself to plug into something bigger than yourself. It also, I mean, let's say helps lower cortisol, your stress levels, better oxygenate your blood. There's actually, they say there's antidepressants in dirt, like if you get your hands dirty. And even more than that, when we really allow ourselves to be in nature and commune with nature, we remember that we are part of the whole, that we are not disconnected, that we are interconnected, and that all of these different pieces fit together in a way that we might not have seen before. One of my favorite ways to get good intuitive guidance, especially if I'm, in a lot of emotion or feeling stuck, is to go take a walk in the park and just start to notice the things around me. Notice the beautiful flowers or the water or the big oak trees. Then I come back to the present moment and actually allow that unburdening of those things that roll around your mind like a little rotisserie chicken on a spit, and create some space for real guidance, for listening to come in. Now, one really powerful thing that happens when we walk and when we are in nature is that we have the right and the left hemisphere of our brains. And the left hemisphere of our brains is linear thinking. It is backwards, forwards, it is fact obsessed, and then we have the right. And the right is our creativity, our imagination, our expansion. And where those two actually meet is in the front lobe, which is mindfulness. And when we get disconnected and dysregulated, that is when we often don't actually have these two parts of our brain fight against each other. But when you walk, when you move, it brings those parts back into harmony. And when we actually are surrounded by green, which like scientifically is a color that also reduces stress, it is a beautiful way that we can heal, that we can actually soothe our scared little nervous systems, are taxed even from just living in a city or even in and around people. If you even think about sound and how it bounces off the walls or our screens, these are things that we aren't naturally designed to live with, and it acts a lot of energy of us. And so in that place of coming back to simplicity, to that places of our natural, even our harmonics, it is soothing to the deep parts of our physical containers that need to remember that we belong, because you do belong. Your body, home number one. That's where your spirit lives. That's where your intuition resides. Home number two, planet Earth. This is where we have come from and where we stay and belong. And also, when we remember that, we actually start to recognize, just like when we're in nature and see the interconnectedness of the trees and the ecosystems, we start to recognize our interconnectedness with each other. We are the same. We are the same. And that same place of when you cut a flower from source, it wilts. And it's the same thing for us when we cut off ourselves from source, from nature. We wilt. But all we have to do is come home and remember. And the other beautiful thing about being in nature is it inspires awe. It reminds us how small we are in a beautiful way, how eternal and vast the universe is, how what it is that we can conceive is just such a tiny pinprick in the ocean. And when we actually start to recognize that and connect to that awe, that is that same place of saying, wow, life is magic. There is divine everywhere. And there is so much more than our existence that gets so obsessed with producing or working or the list or figuring it out. And reminds us, what are the things that are really important? What is important to you? What are the things that really distill of just chatter versus the things that are really weigh on your heart, or the things that you really absolutely value? I saw a study. It was the University of California, Irvine. They had people look at a photo of a building for 60 seconds, and they had people look at a photo of a waterfall for 60 seconds. And they found that over 70% of the people who took this study actually, when they looked at the waterfall, were more likely to help a stranger than the people who looked at a building. And that's how nature reminds us and reconnects us. And most importantly, when we're healing, returning to wholeness, calling back those pieces of ourselves, it's not an intellectualized process. That is part of it. But it's coming back to here, to home. And walking in nature quiets the chatter of the mind, brings us to the present moment. That is where we get intuitive guidance. That is where your spirit resides. That is where the solutions are. That is where you connect with your guides. That is where you're flexible and available and open and curious. And so from that place of presence and listening and remembering, that is where we say, okay, I am safe. I am whole. And whatever it is that I'm struggling with, I don't have to hold alone. Being in nature also is a beautiful place where we can energetically give over our burdens and look at how something bigger than us, than our minds. Because sometimes it's hard. You want to turn it over to your guides, the angels, the universe. You're like, oh, it feels so abstract. But you go to nature and you can turn it over to the trees, to these physical things that are in front of us that actually already hold so much wisdom and energy and space. And those can be our totems. You know, I had a really wonderful therapist, Anna Maria, who told me when I was really struggling, she was like, find a tree, a beautiful oak tree here in New Orleans, and have that be where you can unburden yourself. Have that be a place where you can turn it over and watch. And it was a really beautiful practice. So I encourage you, even there in healing, those things that you struggle with, turn them over to something physical. Turn them over to that tree. Turn them over and watch how that tree sustains and grows and changes. I mean, here in New Orleans, we even have hurricanes. And it's a good reminder that no matter what, not only is there what's above the surface, but there's a whole rooted ecosystem of support that is completely blind to the eye. You know, you think about tree roots and you think about old growth trees, like if there's a forest fire, they send all their nutrients to younger trees. Or you think about the fantastic fungi network of all of the mushrooms that actually send nutrients and are so important. And it's like recognizing how much help we have all the time. It's the same. You are the tree. You are above the surface, but underneath there is a whole community championing you, vying for your support, holding you up, that we can recognize or did not recognize when we're disconnected. You know, so this week, go spend some time in nature. And if you're somewhere, like if you're in a building downtown, or even if you are somewhere that's still on lockdown, because that happens, even if you look at pictures of nature, you know, even watching a nature documentary, that also helps. So go spend some time outside, prioritize it, because those walks in nature will heal you, will increase your intuitive guidance, your connection, your support, and will be a game changer. Plus, it's beautiful. Feeding your spirit with beauty is one of the most loving things that you can do. So I hope that you enjoyed this video this week. And, you know, comment below. Do you spend time in nature? Where's your favorite place to spend time in nature? Tell me. I read all of them and I cannot wait to hear from you. If you haven't already, hit subscribe and leave me a comment. It helps. And I'm so grateful for your support. And as always, if you want more tools to develop your intuition, head to my site, soniatully.com. Download my free spiritual toolkit. You'll get a meditation and you'll get a workbook so you can develop your own skills. Also, there you can take a spirit type quiz, find out what your spirit type is. Are you an earth spirit, an air spirit, a water spirit, a fire spirit? These are empowering things that can create and be a big game changer. So I'm sending you all my love. I'll see you next week.